Welcome back, baseball fans, to the 70-73 draft prep. Looking at data for who do you want to keep, waive, retire, or pick in the first round. We've been looking at this big spreadsheet, the 2,560 players available over a period of 4 years. Some guys are not eligible, most are. And we've been kind of trying to figure out, just do a little scouting, who could be taken in the first round. We have a draft order, and looking at the let's see here, draft order for this draft. We have navigated through Kansas City in our last video. It's the top 22 teams we've had a peek at. We're trying to get through the last 10 tonight, all playoff teams a year ago, from 23 to 32. Get through that. The Mets are 32. They won the World Series. They'll be the last team to take a peek at. Let's see what is going to go on here for a possible first-round pick. Houston is the first team to take a look at. Actually got it set to Houston. First, I want to take a peek at guys. If there's a guy you want to improve. A couple interesting notes here. This red is Joe Morgan. That's letting me know that he's on the Reds in 72-3. So no, Houston. We're going to let history take the proper place here. Morgan will play for the Astros through his 72 card and a 71 card, and then we'll make a transaction to benefit both teams to get him to Cincinnati. It won't be the same compensation because I can't provide the same compensation because players are moved all over the place. But I'll figure out something that'll happen in a couple years' time. But Bob Watson is an interesting case of a guy you can improve. We got him into the league young, and he's okay, but you got a chance to really make him an all-star if you bump his card up to 72 or 73. That's one thing to consider in this analysis. Let's go directly now to the 2560 for Houston. And you see, again, this chunk of data is all guys linked to the team in alphabetical order. All these guys have some connection to the Astros. And then beyond this, we have available players from any of the 4 years. Let's concentrate looking here. I first want to peek at Watson to get an understanding why do I want to improve him. He's a 272 hitter with a 768 OPS, 324, 443. Nothing really special. He's good. He's not great currently, and he doesn't have a position either. And why should we improve him? Because in 72 and 73, he hits 312 both years, 403 on base, 449 slugging, 852 OPS. Those are pretty good numbers. Defensively, he's still not really good. The second of those years, 1973, with more power, he can play left, first, and catch, whereas he can't catch in 72. So he has a possibility to be a first-round pick. I then like to look at my keepers. We have the great Larry Dierker, had a brilliant 69 card. He's got two nice cards come up in 71 and 72. You want to skip 1970. 71's a little bit better, but he can't pitch on 3 days rest. Then you have Denny LeMaster. He's just kind of ordinary at this point. Jim Merritt they kept because he's left-handed, and he is okay enough. His ERA is around 4. His whip is okay at best. There's absolutely nothing special about him. He'll be drafted, but not in the first round. And then you have the toy cannon before we look at their rookies. Jim Nguyen. He's got a couple of nice years in here. Alternating years, 70 and 72. 70, it's an 886 OPS, which is the highest in the range, with 27 home runs and 24 stolen bases, and a 282 average and a high on base percentage. That definitely qualifies for a first-round pick. So I have him a little bit better than Watson, a little bit better than Dierker at this point. Let's see if there's a rookie in the Houston Chronicles coming down the pipe for Houston. Go down to the year of 73, alphabetized here. And there is Ray Busey, Bob Gallagher, Roger Metzger, Doug Rader, Jim Crawford, J.R. Richard. Now, Richard is the prize here. However, he is ordinary at this point of his career. He's 6-2 with an ERA of 4. Nothing special about Crawford. Quickly looking at the OPS of the rest, the rookie class is not very good. So that's pretty much the look for Houston tonight. 3 potential players. You can't go wrong with any of them as a first-round pick. That would, of course, be Watson, Nguyen, or Durker. All right, next up after Houston, Baltimore Orioles. We talked a long time ago about a potential trade with the Cleveland Indians, as Cleveland is interested in Frank Robinson, and the Orioles realize Frank's getting up there in age and have an opportunity to unload him and replace him with a youthful Rookie of the Year, Al Bunbury. And it's something that the Orioles should definitely consider doing. Let's go into this thinking that they're not going to do that, though, if they don't make the trade. So let's look at the rookie class, and you'll see that you got Don Stanhouse, who actually wasn't even with them yet, Al Bunbury, Enos Cabell, Bob Reynolds. Ooh, there's another young rookie, Bob Reynolds. $1.95 ERA. He is closer material. Would replace Dick Hall in this particular case. Al Bunbury, the rookie, can't quite field yet, but a .337, 898 OPS. He will outperform in those categories Frank Robinson, for what that's worth. And he's a rookie, and he plays for the Orioles through the early 80s. So, yeah, either way, you either make the deal or don't. You can't lose if you're the Orioles. But say that deal doesn't happen. If the deal does not go, change of mind, change of heart, Paul Blair, Mike Cuellar, Dick Hall, and of course Frank Robinson. Now these are your years, starting at age 34 through 37, and they get a little bit worse. 306, 281, 251, 98 starts at 918 in 1970. That's why you would hesitate. He delivers the goods in the first year of this, so why trade him? Just because Cleveland wants him so much. This sounds like what you would do is, okay, Cleveland, you want to trade for Frank Robinson? Let's put some bait out there. Let's see if we can really make a big move in the transaction. And if not that, Dick Hall has a nice card. Mike Cuellar would be the next keeper. And Cuellar has a really good 1972. That would be the best of the 4 years. So fallback options would be Cuellar or Frank Robinson or Al Bunbury. Orioles simply cannot go wrong in this. When they do make a trade, they better make a wise trade. Okay. Next up, a disappointing Oakland team. They barely made the playoffs, but they are expected to compete for the World Series annually through this timeline. Can they do that now? Can they make that big move? Let's take a look at Oakland's opportunity here. The A's, the amazing A's. First of all, real quickly, we can check and see if there is an in-house option to improve. Joe Rudy, 72. That makes a whole lot of sense, really. Let's go take a look at Joe Rudy's 1972 performance. So Rudy, now he has a great 70 performance, but he can't field. Rudy's got a 309, 821 OPS and 70, but he only has 350 plate appearances, and he's a 4 in the outfield. So what happens in 72? Why do I think we should bump him up? 305, 830 OPS, but he's a 1, E2 in left field, and that's why you would do that. He's a 3 in 71. He's back to being a 2 again in 73. Something magical happens in 72. If the A's want to win the World Series in 72, maybe you improve Joe Rudy in the first round. Your heroes, traditional guys, are going to be great, but they're not. They may have had their best year. We talked about that with Bando, Sal Bando. He may have had his best year in 69 or 70. 69. And the timeline here, solid Sal Bando years. 73 is the best one. 287, 873, 29 bombs. That's first round worthy. Dick Green is a nice player, but not first round worthy. Ken Holtzman, acquired in the offseason. Boom! So, the year is 1972 with a .07 whip. Actually, 73 is fine as well, .14. I can go either year for that. But if you did pick 72, you'd go Rudy and Holtzman, and that means you can't pick up anybody else in 72. So where's Reggie? Oh, wait a minute, folks. I forgot something. Reggie Jackson's your 1973 American League most valuable player. Generally, MVPs become first-round picks. So after all that deliberation, it's going to be Reggie. The year will be 73. And then the A's are going to have some really nice guys behind him. Improve Rudy to 72. Bando has a good... All his years are good, really, except for 72. Holtzman's got a good 72 and 3. I haven't looked at their rookie class yet. They might have to wait a little bit if there's somebody really good here. Not much. All the rookies are traded or gone. Vic Harris and Jim Howarth. There's nothing going on in the rookie class, so it's all veterans for the A's at this point. All right, next up, the disappointing Dodgers. Always fantastic starting pitching, great back in the bullpen, good batting average, slap it around, bunt, hit and run, steal some bases. Little, if no power, and that's cost them big time in the postseason, the lack of the 30 homer guy that they're missing. Their rookie class, we're getting really close here. A lot of guys. Bucky Brandon, Buzz Capra, Ron Say, Steve Garvey, Von Joshua, Lee Lacy, Davey Lopes, Steve Yeager, and Doug Rao. Wow. Yeah. Now, are they ready is the question. 74, they're in the World Series. What about 73? Are any of these guys ready? Honestly, not really. Nobody has an OPS over 800. I would say of all the guys, the earliest bloomer is Steve Garvey with a 304 batting average. But his defense is not there yet. Ron Say is not hitting enough homers yet. He's too young. Davey Lopes, stealing bases, 352 on base, a 312 at second base. He's probably the most accessible guy, right? You want to bring up right now. But let's see who's already in the Dodgers system that's worth improving. Oh boy, Jim Brewer and Don Sutton. Two guys have monster 72s. Let's take a look at those. Embarrassment of riches. This is a lot of good stuff for the Dodgers here, as you would expect. Sutton in 72, a .91 whip. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's pretty damn good. You'd love to get that card in the league. And Jim Brewer, $1.26. That's an ERA, not a whip. .84 whip. Oh boy. Those are both first round worthy. Now they're keepers. Willie Crawford will eventually, by 73, finally put it together with a nice solid year. 295 with 14 homers, 849 OPS. Does not have to be their first round pick. Obviously, we got some better Dodger players, but he finally puts together in 73. That'll be the year we take him for. But you got the three pitchers, John Messersmith and Osteen, along with improving Don Sutton. So you can really put a masterful rotation together if you pick your years properly. Let's pick each guy's best year. Tommy John, 72 and 73. Messersmith, 72 and 73. And Osteen. Same thing, 72 and 73. Too many guys. Can't do all that. Going to have to be patient and build this brick by brick. There's too many guys in 72 and 73 to bring up. You can't bring them up. You can only bring up two guys per draft. You need some 70 and 71 talent. Of all those guys, I might want to pick 70 Messersmith with a $1.14 ERA. For 71, really, Claude Osteen, you can't go wrong with him in any of the years, but yeah. As far as the first pick, though, you've got too many guys to choose from. Sutton, Brewer, possibly Crawford, Messersmith, and Osteen in the 72 or 73 year. So, plenty of talent to pick from here. California Angels, surprise winners of the American League West last year. A very young team, very okay at best. They're like the poor man's version of the New York Mets. They got some good pitching, good relievers, but this offense is just, when Jay Johnstone and Jim Spencer are your best hitters, you'd be rather surprised to win a division. And knock on those guys, but they're just not lights out hitters. The Angels, Johnstone, McLaughlin, Bill Singer, Tovar. Let's start with Singer. He's been on the Dodgers, now the Angels. His next big year is in 70. The .04 whip, but he doesn't pitch on 3 days rest. Pitches on 3 days rest and 71-3, but the whip's not particularly good. So he's not particularly amazing. Cesar Tovar acquired in a trade. Nothing super special about him. Jim McLaughlin's got a nice year in 70. Jay Johnstone really doesn't do much until he ends up on the Phillies in the mid-70s. So not a whole lot going on with the California Angels here. Let's see if there's an Angel that needs improving. No, they don't have any Angels to be improved. Well, then lastly, let's check the rookie class. You could see that the Angels might slump. They could have just got really lucky in the past year, and now reality will set in as they don't look particularly interesting as a team. And the Oakland A's are in their division, and the A's should be dominating this division. I have no idea why they haven't. So the rookie class for the Angels is Rudy Meoli, Billy Parker, Richie Scheinblum, Bobby Valentine, Rich Hand, and Dick Lang. One of these guys is excellent. That is Richie Scheinblum. In 268 plate appearances, he hits .328, .417, .845 OPS. That's worthy of being a first-round pick, particularly on a team like this that has such a lousy offense. That's a nice little jolt. And again, they have Nolan Ryan, they have Bill Singer. They don't have Frank Tanana yet. I don't see him here. Maybe he comes along in 74. Who is their lefty? Oh, they have a good lefty. It is Clyde Wright. So they have a really nice Clyde Wright in their rotation until Tanana comes along. Dave LaRoche in the bullpen. Great pitching. They have great pitching on this team. The Richie Scheinblum, that sounds like a surprise first-round pick, but statistically he delivers at that spot for a team that needs an offense to justify that. All right, the Cincinnati Reds, participants in the 1970 and 72 World Series, disappointing in the postseason. In the regular season, they're the best team in Strat-O-Matic. For 2-3 years in a row. Just the number one seed of the National League. But something happens in the playoffs, and it doesn't work out. So, in an offseason trade, they acquired the rights to Dick Bosman because they believe that he will help them win games at the top of the rotation. Him and Don Gullett is what they're projecting. Bosman was the best available, long pitcher, and that's why they made the deal for him. Wayne Granger, just a same old Granger year in and year out, a good setup guy, nothing special beyond that. Pete Rose and Lee May. I'm going to say Pete Rose is going to be a first-round pick for obvious reasons. He's the 1973 National League MVP. So Reggie Jackson and Pete Rose should be first-round picks because of that. And we can stop looking at the Reds at this point, really. We shouldn't go beyond that. They should have tons of choices with 2 World Series teams in this timeline. Next up, the team that knocked the Reds out of the playoffs last year, the Giants. And they did it on a Willie Mays homer. But Willie Mays is getting up there in age. Let's take a look at the Giants. Let's take a look and see if the Giants have anybody getting better. They do not have anybody getting significantly better. All right, let's take a look. This is a veteran, old-laden team. Older guys, veteran-laden team here. Let's see. Fuentes, Marichal, McCovey, McDowell. Okay, so we know Marichel's last great year is 71 with a .07 whip. That's first round pick material. We have Willie McCovey with a 105.6 OPS and 70. That's first round material. No need to look at Fuentes and Sam McDowell. I'll take a peek at McDowell real quick. He's okay, nothing special. And lastly, a rookie. And they're going to have a ton of great center fielders coming through this organization. Gary Maddox, Gary Matthews, Ken Henderson, Willie Mays, Bobby Bonds. And they don't hang on to all of them. But a ton of guys to consider. Ed Goodson, Gary Maddox, Gary Matthews, Steve Oliveras, Dave Rader, Mike Sadik, Gary Thomason, Jim Barr, Don Carruthers, Randy Moffett. Wow. Giants should keep this thing rolling. We know they hold on to their players till they're too really old, and it starts to suffer by the mid to late 70s, but it's still the early 70s. They have Gary Maddox is worthy of a first round pick. Gary Matthews is worth of a first round pick. Of course, you have McCovey and Marichal. You got to figure out what to do with Maddox and Matthews. We obviously know Maddox ends up with the Phillies, Matthews ends up with the Braves, and what I'm going to guess are pretty lousy trades. So the Giants have an embarrassment of riches. Don't screw it up. Don't screw it up, San Francisco. Boston. They were a #1 seed and then got bounced in the playoffs by the Tigers. Tons of bats, tons of hitting with the Red Sox, of course, but it was the pitching last year that was so superior. Surprising guys pitching with ERAs around 2. You don't expect that to happen year to year to year. So maybe the Red Sox are due for a swoon in the pitching. Rookie class: Cecil Cooper, Dwight Evans, Doug Griffin, Rick Miller, Bobby Bolin, John Curtis, and Dick Pole. Not quite ready, except for Bobby Bolin is a nice reliever. Aside from him, all the other guys just are still too young, not quite worth a first-round pick. The Red Sox, is there an improving player? Probably not. They're already great. Oh, wait a minute. There is one. Bill Lee. Oh, yes. It's time to put Bill Lee, get him out of the bullpen, and put him in the rotation. You can do that with a 73 card. So we'll take a look at that as a possible first-round pick. Scrolling up to the Red Sox. So Bill Lee, pretty ordinary 71 card, 1.45 whip out of the bullpen, relief starter. But if you bump him up to a 73 card, and again, if you bump a player up while he already has a card, it costs you a draft pick. So that's why it has to really be worth, the lemon has to be worth the squeeze, or whatever I can't remember how that thing works. Anyway, is it really worth it to bump up Bill Lee to a 73 card, or should you just wait one more year and then do it for free? Well, Bill Lee, 284 innings with a .23 whip. This team, one of the things this team does not have is an innings eater beyond Sonny Siebert. If you look at the innings pitched, you have really just Sonny Siebert on 3 days rest, and that's it. Everybody else can't do it. So having Sonny Siebert and Bill Lee as a 1-2 punch with Louis Tiant and Roger Moret, that'd be a nice little rotation there. But you've got Reggie Smith, Rico Petrocelli, Mike Andrews, and Jerry Moses. So it's between Petrocelli and Reggie Smith for a first-round pick. Petrocelli has already had his 69 monster year, and now he's going to be pretty normal for the rest of his career. Reggie Smith, though, really, I just don't know how this guy could have played on so many teams. I mean, why not just stick with one? But Reggie Smith, 4 great years, from 70 to 73, all with Boston. He's not going to St. Louis quite yet. Definitely worth a first-round pick here. He's got a 30-homer year in 71. So really, when you think about it, just saying Reggie Smith is worth losing a draft pick to improve Bill Lee. So I'm going to say Reggie Smith probably makes more sense. All right, the Tigers, we're down to the last two teams. Tigers are runners-up in the World Series, but they had a lousy year. They were only a game over 500. They won their division with a losing record. But they marched all the way to the World Series. A lot of their hitters are getting old, but they're doing it. They're like fine wine. They get better. Guys like, Cash, K-Line, and Willie Horton, Dick McAuliffe, Northrup not so much. But they keep hitting into their mid-30s. It's really interesting. Must be the ballpark. Let's see. Oh, I know one of these. K-Line should be recognized here, I believe, right? Yeah. Oh, and John Hiller, too. All right, so John Hiller is your closer, but he's got a killer 1973 card, worthy of being a first-round pick. Let's go take a look at that. So Hiller in 70 has a $1.23 whip. What's he got going in 73? Oh boy, $1.44 ERA and a $1.02 whip. Oh boy, yeah, that's lights out. Probably the fireman of the year. He's worthy of being a first-round pick. Norm Cash has a pretty remarkable 71. He's 36 years old. He hits 32 home runs. I believe he was in the All-Star game, which was in Detroit. 903 OPS. That's worth being a first-round pick. Now, Willie Horton. Couple 845, 855, 863. He's got 3 different years where he delivers the goods. But Cash is a little bit better than Horton. First round and second round. We like Dick McAuliffe in this as well. And it is his 73 year on base and an 804 OPS for McAuliffe, a full-time left-handed hitting second baseman. Northrup, however, his numbers start to go straight downwards. And as soon as I say that, he hits 307 in 1973 at age 33. Well, he went from 290 to 260, 270, 261. Then all of a sudden, at age 33, he hits 307 in 1973. But I'm thinking I like Norm Cash. Oh, and let's see the rookie class. And no, we're still too early for Trammell and Whitaker and guys like that. Steve Kemp, those guys. Only a couple guys here. Ed Farmer, Mike Strahler, and no to that, both of those. And tonight we're going to wrap it up then with the Mets. Your world champion Mets. Obviously, they can't make a mistake with a first-round pick. All their options are great at this point. Let's see if there's a current Met that gets dramatically better. Oh, yeah, we have Ken Singleton. But we're talking about maybe trading Ken Singleton for Rusty Staub. And then it's a question of picking a Rusty Staub card in the best year. So that's one option. Ken Singleton for Rusty Staub and making the using trade tokens or other players tossed in, I'll balance the trade. That'd be a fun, fair trade, by the way. Singleton for Staub, I would love that. That trade will probably happen. Does it impact the first overall pick for the Mets in the draft? Let's look at the rookies since I'm down here. And as far as rookies, they went with John Matlack's 72 card, and that was the biggest move. So they went with John Matlack's 72 Rookie of the Year card for the first-round pick, and all he did was be their best pitcher, and all they did was win the World Series. So, pretty important. Duffy Dyer, Ted Martinez, Harry Parker. I call that the hangover. Nothing special there. Harry Parker's a decent reliever, but nothing special otherwise. This has the looks of Tom Seaver being chosen as his card is up. The 69 card is gone. Shed no tears. It just gets better, folks. For the entire next 10, 12, 15 years for Seaver, it'll just be great. He leads the league in whip in 71 and 73. Has a $1.76 ERA in 286 innings in 71. You simply have to take Tom Seaver with your first-round pick. I know it's the idea of maybe Jerry Kuzman, Cleon Jones, Jerry Grody, yada yada, Rusty Staub. Come on, Tom Seaver will be the Mets' first-round pick. And the question is, choosing between 71 and 73, with the idea you want to pick the Seaver in a year you're otherwise weak. Because let's say the Mets are loaded in 73. That was the year they were in the World Series, right? Let's say they're loaded that year. If you take the 73 Seaver, you only have one more spot for a guy from that World Series team to add. It could be 73 Seaver, 73 Staub, but then nobody else. I don't know how good, for instance, Kuzman is in 73. He's very good, actually. So Kuzman should be the 73 card, and then Seaver should probably be a 71 card. And then Cleon Jones could be a 71 card, and Staub could be any of the other years, 73 or 72 or 70. So, good options for the Mets. Again, you're wondering, a lot of good options because look at the teams we just looked at. I mean, we went tonight and went from Houston down here, and the Orioles, A's, Dodgers, these are all World Series teams. Reds, Giants, Red Sox. I mean, they're all great teams, so obviously they're going to have plenty of good options for first-round pick. The only team missing, really, in this area are these guys, the Pirates. Watch out for them because they just had a really unlucky year last year, and now they're going to have a high draft pick, and they are loaded. They could be the most talented team in all of this. And so I know you concentrate on these teams down here, but the Pirates should be lumped in with them. And that is our review of the 2560 for first-round picks. I think next time we come back with this series, I'm just going to look at baseball transactions that occurred in Baseball Reference during the timeline, such as the Joe Morgan trade or the Ken Singleton trade, Rusty Staub trade, and see if there's some way of matching them up with the players that are on the current rosters in the league. It's kind of a nice way of selecting the most important parts of baseball history and moving those forward, and then if there happen to be really imbalanced trades, off the top of my head, for instance, I can think of Davey Johnson for Earl Williams between the Orioles and Atlanta Braves was a pretty imbalanced trade. So once you know the results of the trade, you can change the trade parameters to make it more balanced and fair for the entire league so that nobody's getting dumped on. The object of the game is that I don't want any of the teams to get dumped on. I want a fun, competitive league. That means more games for me to play that are fun and not tedious blowouts by Hall of Fame teams. That's boring. All right, enough tonight. Thanks for checking out the series. We'll see you next time.